and the gray skies fade to black. The waves splash and set me off track, so my vessel might crash or collapse when I'm attacked and start wrestling in my head with these bad memories from my past.
Hey guys, thanks for joining me for part 1 of the message. Today I'm going to be talking about God. Who is God? To me, I think we have to go straight to Scripture in order to understand this mystery. I think there's a lot that we could say about God, His attributes, and His just amazingness. But there's a few things that I think are really important in our quest to understand the message. And I think we should start with His righteousness, His justice. And so you can find this in Psalms chapter 11, verse 6 and 7. Upon the wicked He will rain snares, fire and brimstone, and burning wind will be the portion of their cup. For the Lord is righteous. He loves righteousness. The upright will behold His face. But God is also a holy God. And you can see that in Psalms chapter 24, verse 3. Who may ascend into the hill of the Lord? And who may stand in His holy place? These two are such keys to understanding the power of God. But let's talk about the power of God, because that itself should just shake you a little bit. And in Jeremiah chapter 10, verses 11 to 13, you can see a picture of God that I think is painted beautifully. But the Lord is the true God. He's the living God and the everlasting King. At His wrath, the earth quakes, and the nations cannot endure His indignation. Thus you shall say to them, the gods that did not make the heavens and the earth shall perish from the earth and from under the heavens. It is He who made the earth by His power, who established the world by His wisdom, and by His understanding He has stretched out the heavens. When He utters His voice, there is tumult of water in the heavens, and He causes the clouds to ascend from the end of the earth. He makes lightning from the rain, and brings out the wind from His storehouse. These three things I think are key as we move on to understand who we are, where we stand before God. Who is God? I could probably sit here all day and talk about His attributes and not even come close to the character of God. But these three I think are really important. But just so we can kind of get a different perspective, I want to bring in one of my friends for him to share a verse for you, to get kind of a different person's idea too. I mean, it's the same God, but there's so much to talk about. So let's talk to Matt. What's up, Matt? Come on in.
Hey, Mishka.
How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So I heard you have a verse that you want to share with us about God's attributes and His character. So why don't you read it and tell us what it's all about?
Yeah, I have Psalm 23:3. He restores my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness for His name's sake. I think that's saying that God is a person who restores and leads.
Yeah, dude. I really appreciate that. And I think that goes really well with what I was talking about earlier. God's justice and His holiness and His righteousness and His power. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
He's a God who leads and restores as well. There's just so much to talk about this God, the biblical God. And I think in so many cases we have a distorted image almost of God, like He's a genie in the bottle or
Santa Claus.
Yeah, exactly, or Santa Claus. But I think when we go to the Scripture, we can really understand the biblical God. But so what? What does it matter, you know? Why do we know about God? I think in order to understand where we stand before God, we must understand who God is. And I think that's kind of what we're doing here. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
And I think that when we're beginning to understand who God is, although there's so much to talk about, and we can sit here all day and wouldn't even get close, it's a great start. And I think when we can understand that, then we can go to who we are before God. But I think we'll talk about that next time. Who we are and what that matters. So yeah, stay tuned and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
When it's midnight and the gray skies fade to black, the waves splash and set me off track, so my vessel might crash or collapse. When I'm attacked and start wrestling in my head with these bad memories from my